Hello, hello, and welcome back to Happy Time, Happy Money podcast. And today we have Gianni Musumeci. He's a credential financial literacy enthusiast with more than 12 years experience in the financial services industry, working with some of Australia's biggest institutions. He holds accreditations in financial planning, financial services, mortgage, and finance broking. Father of two young boys who has a keen interest in all things financial literacy, fitness, and fun. Hi, and welcome, Gianni.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Well, now, as always, I would love to learn more about you. Where are you coming from? How did you start what you started to do? And you have such a big, long experience, 12 years.
Yeah, so look, I've always had a keen interest in financial services, especially the way you handle money. I'm very passionate about financial literacy and financial competency. And I think it all started back when I was in high school and I was learning about economics and business studies and that sort of thing. I remember working weekends and accumulating a little bit of money. And I always thought, well, I can do better than just leaving it in a savings account. So one of the first things I did is at age 16 or 17 is I went and saw a financial planner who sort of taught me how to invest that money into managed funds. And I think ever since then, I've always wanted my money to do more. There's a lot of famous quotes around, if you don't make money when you sleep, you'll be working till you die. And I always think that people can do more, or just to be financially savvy or a little bit more educated in terms of their finances. So I started from a young age to learn about financial planning. I started working for some of Australia's biggest institutions, starting off as just a regular bank teller, handling cash and making deposits and withdrawals and that sort of stuff. But at the same time, I was studying for my postgraduate degree in financial planning. I also studied for a diploma in financial services, and I've also done a certificate in mortgage broking and finance. So I'm accredited to perform all of those functions in financial planning, financial services, and mortgage broking. And I really want to impart my knowledge onto everyday Australians as to how to better handle their money, how to be more financially competent, and just how to, gain wealth and achieve their goals. Because at the end of the day, people want to invest money or they want to make money primarily because they want to reduce the amount of time that they work. And a lot of the traps that we fall into, they reduce our ability to meet our goals. So one of the things that we can do to everyday people out is just to educate them a little bit better in terms of how they achieve their goals. I've worked for a number of years in financial services for those institutions. And I think for every year that I've worked, I've picked something more up along the way. And I think that we're always learning. Even nowadays, even with all my experience in education, I'm still exposed to more and more things that I haven't learned before. And I just think that no matter how much education or how much experience you have within the industry, there's always more to learn. And some of the best ways that you can learn is by interacting with other people, asking them how or what their goals are or what problems they're facing in terms of their financial literacy and how they can go meeting their goals, and just helping them out with their issues as well. One of the best ways I do that personally is I reach out to people online and I sort of see what I can do to help them as well. So just that exposure to all those problems and issues, it helps me get a keen understanding of what people are facing and what I can do to help them meet their goal. One of the biggest things nowadays is, especially with coronavirus and lockdowns and restrictions that are happening here in Australia, is people are finding it difficult because either their employment has been reduced or they're facing unemployment, and they need to sort of understand, well, how do I now meet my expenses? And some of the ways that I'd like to be able to help people is to sort of get them to understand how they can derive a passive income, how they can save for emergency expenses, and what they can do to protect themselves from scenarios like this in future. So look, I'd love to be able to provide just, a little bit of help in these rough times.
Awesome. Wow. That is interesting. So tell me a number, like 3 top mistakes that people make when they are planning in their finance.
Well, a lot of people don't, what I find is a lot of people don't set their goals. So in particular, they don't articulate what they want. A common sort of theme is, I want to be rich. well, what does rich mean to you? Or what does successful mean to you? So if you don't articulate your goals, you don't know how to meet them. I use the analogy a lot that it's much in the same way as you're planning a trip. You plan from point A to point B. And the same way as you sort of invest your funds, you wouldn't invest your funds in the wrong investment vehicle, because it means you can't take your money to where you want to be. The same way, again, as a trip, you don't take a flight to go from Sydney to LA. So you don't take a car to go from Sydney to LA, you take a flight. So you need to plan your goals and you need to understand. And secondly, a lot of people are sort of distracted about, how they can achieve their goals. So they might be distracted by the latest fad. For example, cryptocurrency is something that might distract people. They might see it in the news, and they might develop something that we call FOMO, fear of missing out. So they think that, I need to take my money out of my current investment and put it into cryptocurrency. But by the time you hear about it in the news, more than likely, it's already too late. And then thirdly is something that I find is that people are reluctant to go see professional help for financial planning, particularly because they think the costs associated with financial planning is too much, or they may not trust financial planners as a whole. Now, one of the things I like to tell people is that you need your team around you to support you to meet your goals. You can't do something like that on your own. Even the most successful people, the most successful entrepreneurs, they don't do things on their own. They have a team around them to support them. So you might have a financial planner to help you meet your financial goals. You'll have a tax accountant to help you with any tax reduction strategies. You'll have a solicitor for any legal requirements, and you might have a mortgage broker to help you with your lending requirements as well. So you'll always have that team around you to support you to help you meet your goals. So they're the sort of three biggest things that I think that people sort of need to understand. They need to articulate their goals. They need to stick to the strategy and not be susceptible to fear of missing out. And they need that support team around them to sort of help them reach their goals, because it's too difficult to do on your own.
Wow. Yeah, I absolutely agree with everything you said, and so insightful. So I really love that you mentioned that we get to have a team, like everyone, right? Me and everyone who wants to get the financial things in order, is like you get to ask for support.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. And there's all sorts of support that's available. Even if you just have a bank account, you're still entitled to a whole bunch of services. You can call your financial institution and see what advice they can provide you in terms of meeting your goals. So it's just, there's plenty of support around you. You just need to sort of ask for help. Yeah.
Awesome. So what will be your number one advice for people?
The number one advice is to really understand where your financial position is at. So the sort of top tip is you need to have a look at your finances, understand where you sit in terms of your finances, and conduct an audit of yourself. Understand what your current expenses are, understand what your cash flow is, understand where your money comes from, and only then, once you baseline yourselves, will you truly be able to understand where you can make those particular improvements. So for example, if I have $50,000 worth of expenses, but I only make $60,000, then I may look to either make more money or reduce my expenses. Either way, I can conduct an audit of my financial situation, of my cash flow and expenses. But until I do that, I can't start. Okay, it's no good articulating your goals if you don't know where you're starting. So that's probably the biggest thing, is to really understand where you sit financially.
Love it. All right. And the last question that I always ask on this podcast is to filling the blank for me. So if you really knew me, you will know that I am blank.
If you really knew me, you know that I'm a fitness enthusiast. I love hitting the gym. I love my football or soccer, depending on what part of the world you're in. I've been playing soccer since I could walk. And yeah, I love all things fitness. I love keeping active. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
I love it. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. I know you have something special for my audience only today, which is...
Yes, if anybody wants to reach out with me, look, I'd love to provide you a obligation-free consultation just to sort of help you articulate your goals, understand where your finances are at, and what you can do to sort of improve your finances. I'd love to speak with you. Please reach out.
Absolutely. And if you're watching or listening to this episode, just scroll down. There will be a link to that will take you to the show notes and to the place where you can listen or read or watch this interview. And always send us messages if you love this episode and if you have any questions or any feedback. Thank you so much, Gianni, for coming over and sharing your knowledge with us here today on Happy Time, Happy Money. And I'm grateful to have you here with us today.
Thanks, Viktoriia. It's been a pleasure. All the best.
Thank you. Bye-bye. See you in the next episode.